Hello everybody. This week's Torah portion is Parsha's Kisavo. This week's Parsha we have a very monumental mitzvah. We have the mitzvah, as the Torah says, V'lachta b'dracha, we shall walk in Hashem's ways. Or say, this is perhaps a mitzvah that encapsulates the entire Torah. Mitzvah to walk in Hashem's ways means the mitzvah to emulate God's character. The same way that Hashem is compassionate, we should be compassionate. The same way that Hashem is empathetic, we should be empathetic. The same way Hashem is kind, we should be kind. The same way Hashem is truthful, we should be truthful. The same way that Hashem is forgiving, we should be forgiving. I say to say that this is the way to connect to Hashem. How do we connect to God? I say to say, Hidabik b'midosav, huboset bak, attached to Hashem. How? Hidabik b'midosav. You connect to God by emulating His character. So therefore, emulating God's character, walking in His ways, is the way we can connect to the Almighty. It's soon Rosh Hashanah, and over the course of Rosh Hashanah and Slichos and Yom Kippur, many times we'll say the 13 attributes of God's compassion. Hashem, Kel, Racham, Mechanon, Erchapayim, Rav Chesed, Emes, etc. So I say to say that saying these 13 attributes is a tremendous merit to answer our prayers. But the commentaries point out that it isn't simply about saying it, but it's about emulating them, keeping these values. When we emulate God's character, we connect to Hashem, and we are much more deserving of experiencing and receiving compassion and forgiveness. Why is this? So the Nefesh HaChaim says Hashem tzilcha. Hashem is like our shadow. The same way that a shadow mirrors our behavior, also Hashem. So when we act in a forgiving way, Hashem mirrors that, and therefore we are deserving of forgiveness. When we act in a compassionate way, Hashem mirrors that and acts compassionately towards us. And therefore, if we want a year filled with compassion and blessings and forgiveness, then we should try our best to emulate God, to connect to God, and create that mirror effect that brings down this energy, this shefa of forgiveness and blessings and forgiveness to the world. I want to share with you a beautiful story that connotes the concept of forgiveness. There was once a Rosh Yeshiva in Israel whose name was Rabbi Aaron Prostovsky. He had seven children, all lively, wonderful children. And one son whose name was Shlomi. He was a lively boy. And there was a bus driver named Rabbi Lezer. He would drive the children to school every day, and he loved the kids. He loved driving them. One day, very sadly, after Lezer dropped off the children, Shlomi, this lively boy, he saw a friend, and as the bus was leaving, Shlomi ran into the streets, and he was hit by the bus. And he was rushed to the hospital. He was in a very serious condition, eventually went into a coma, and sadly, this young 7-year-old boy, Shlomi, this lively, vibrant, vivacious boy, passed away, left the world. And Lezer was broken and devastated. He was the bus driver. He was the one who took them to school every day. He loved the kids. And although it wasn't his fault, he ran into the street. Lezer was devastated. And he couldn't face the family. He couldn't imagine going back to his job. And he decided he would quit and find some other occupation, something else. He was very broken. After the Shiva, he gets a knock at the door. After the Shiva for Shlomi, gets a knock at the door. Lezer gets a knock at the door. He opens the door and he sees it's Shlomi's parents. And he expects them to berate him and to curse him for being responsible for the death. And he was ashamed to look at them. And they looked at him with a smile and they said, Lezer, we know this is not your faults. We came to let you know, we know this is not your faults. We know you feel terrible. And we know we can't understand why, but somehow this is Hashem's plan. This is what Hashem wants. And we're blessed to have Shlomi for 7 years. But we want to ask you one favor, please. He says, yes. Could you please be the bus driver for the rest of our 6 children? We want you to make sure that you continue to be our bus driver. And Lezer his heart went out. What a gesture! These people lost their son. And they understood that it wasn't his fault, and they didn't have a grudge, and they forgave him. And of course he said yes. Next day, The next day, he went to pick up the children. The whole family was there. All the children were there, waiting for him, smiling, eagerly waiting to be taken to school. And Lazer greeted the children with his usual gregarious and wide smile. What forgiveness! We all merit forgiving others, forgiving other people, letting go of our resentments and grudges, and seeing the beauty in every single Jew, seeing the beauty in every person, seeing the neshama of a person. And in that merit, Hashem will shower us with forgiveness and blessings for the next year. Have a beautiful Shabbos.